And good morning. You're listening to AVNewsCast on News Talk Radio 1380, the Antelope Valley's #1 news talk radio program. Angelina, how you be?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm glad it's Friday.
I am so stoked that it's Friday.
Yeah, me too. In a little bit, we will have California Assemblyman Steve Fox.
Yes.
Who represents the Antelope Valley on the show. We'll be bringing him on. He's calling in.
Yes.
He's not going to be in studio, so we will get him in just a second.
Right.
Let's hit a couple of topics right off the bat. Wednesday, the LA County Sheriff's Department arrested a Los Angeles County employee from Parks and Recs for committing lewd acts on young children. Okay?
Yeah.
The guy works for the Parks and Recs Department.
Yeah.
He was turned in by his fellow employees.
As he should.
You know?
Yeah.
By his fellow employees. He's due to be arraigned today.
And just think, I mean, I would venture to think he probably had done it maybe once or twice before, and his coworkers were scratching their heads saying, "Well, is that what I'm thinking? Is that what I think he's doing?"
Yeah, and you know what? And this is 4 separate children, but they're actually investigating many more.
Yeah.
But this is just 4 separate children.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah, no, it is horrible, and you would think that people would catch a clue and just leave these children alone. We had a assistant vice principal, I believe, recently that was arrested for inappropriately touching a staff member and also inappropriately touching a student. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of the high school, but it's almost unimaginable how these people continue to abuse these children, continue to do things that they know quite clearly they're not going to get away with. I'm sorry, Steve. I just kept talking without you.
No, you know, and it's all good because that's good, and because I had Assemblyman Steve Fox actually on my cell phone while we were doing this.
Okay, cool.
So that's wonderful, and we're going to bring him on the show now because he's calling on the live studio line.
All right.
Assemblyman.
Yes, hi, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
It's always a whirlwind and a kaleidoscope.
I bet it is.
Thank you for taking the time to join us. We are streaming the show live as well, so people can also go to AVNewsCast.com and listen to the show. I want to ask you about a couple of things, and the first thing I want to talk to you about, because you are also a family law attorney, is what happened to this poor child, Gabriel Fernandez, in the Antelope Valley. You know, as you know, and it's been a hot button topic. As you know, this little boy was tortured, and you know, from what it looks like, and everybody is seeing, there were areas that Child Services actually dropped the ball, and probably could have prevented this. Now, I know in the legislature they're talking about moving forward with an audit of Child Services in the state. I want to get your thoughts.
Well, it's probably very necessarily. The question, of course, is, can the state really audit itself, in my mind?
Exactly.
They've already had hearings on Wednesday by a joint legislative committee. They had about 60 people testify. They're now going to determine which 3 counties to audit, and they're going to do it based on where the most complaints are. Although I have to tell you, as a family law attorney, I've seen nothing this egregious, which is obviously unconscionable. But I've seen a lot that I felt was questionable. In most cases, as foster parents, not the real parent. In a lot of times where I get more complaints, because by the time the parents have caused a problem, it's now in court. Obviously, what happened was terrible. There's no question about it. We have laws in place, supposedly, to protect kids from this type of thing happening. Obviously, somebody dropped the ball, or several people dropped the ball. However you look at it, we have a death on our hands, and there is no excuse.
No.
Yeah, and this is not just a death on our hands, because also, Steve, this is a little boy that was tied up, bound, hands and legs, and tortured.
Yeah.
And Child Services had been to the residence 6 separate times and failed to remove this child from the home.
You know, it's insane. I see cases where they get involved where they shouldn't, you know, where there's nothing there.
Right.
And they put a family through 6 months to a year worth of a terrible process. All of us hate Child Services in that regards. I'm sure they're not going to like my comments. But then we get a case like this where they should have been involved. They should have said, hey, I'm opening the door. They have the legal right to. I'm going to check out the household. I'm going to check the kid. If I see a bruise, I'm going to take the kid to the doctor. I'm going to take the kid away from you. And I see them doing that to a lot of families when nothing's happened. And I've represented parents in that type of a case. Then we get something like this where now they should have acted. And you almost think that there should have been a second mechanism in place where the social worker didn't do what they're supposed to, which is going in and taking the child away from a bad situation. There should have been a supervisor saying, I'm checking this out. So, I don't care where you point the finger, this should not have happened.
Never.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartely. Now, if the state doesn't have the ability to audit themselves, then what do you do?
Well, first of all, they allegedly do, so we're going to see what the process gives us first. And I already know from my own experience as a family law attorney, that they better come up with something wrong because I see wrong things all the time. And, a lot of us in the dependency court, which is where you see most of it. And then I've been appointed in the past in family law court to represent kids, which probably sometimes should have been independent. I see some of the problems that kids go through. Sometimes both parents have felonies, they may have been on drugs. Not that that's the usual, but I see a percentage of that. And I think somebody should walk in here and take the kid away. Society should have the child, but we don't necessarily have the resources, which is a problem too. But that's no excuse either. If the state doesn't do a right job, and I have a pretty good sense if I see something that it's not a full report because again I see things. I think there's only one other family law attorney in the legislature. There aren't too many attorneys anymore in the state legislature. Mm-hmm. But I will know really quick that it isn't a full report. So let's take a look what they come up with. More important than discovering it is what kind of solutions are they going to come up with? How are we going to stop this from ever happening again? And that's what I'm going to be looking at.
Right. Yeah, because it seems that, we hear these stories all the time. This is not the first case that a young person has lost their life in the system, outside of the system, in the middle of the process of the system. And it just seems that we keep on hoping that this will be the last time, and they change administrators, and we still end up in the same place. It just seems that something more than... I understand that the audit's purpose is to be able to get on the other side to underline the problem, but it just seems that something more than just an audit needs to be done.
I'm open for suggestions. We can always put a new legislation. The thing I'm concerned with the state is I don't see a lot of enforcement of our laws, mm-hmm. Which is part of the problem, which is something I'm looking into with one or two other assemblymen. And we pass this nice law, but what happens?
If it can be proven that there was negligence on the part of the social worker, at this point, can criminal charges be filed against them?
The legal answer is you'd have to check which laws are in place. The appropriate answer would be, I hope so.
Yeah.
You have the gross negligence. You have different standards. I really hate when people get off and say, well, they were just doing their job, or there's a scope of what they can do and not do, or maybe it wasn't their problem, but a combination. I mean, that's all hogwash.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not there to defend them. I'm actually here to defend the public.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
I can interject that Tony Bell yesterday from Antonivich's office did say that if they were to bring criminal charges, they have to finish this investigation first because of the way this has begun.
That's fine.
I don't necessarily agree with that. If they find something, I think, that is so unconscionable or that breaks the law, I think they have a duty to report it. I think it's up to the DA. I don't think you get a pass just because they're going through an investigation. If obviously you want the information so you can use it in the criminal case, because once the criminal clock starts ticking, the person has a right to a speedy trial. So I understand how they're balancing that. But if you find something really bad, you've got some evidence, you go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you there's a lot of people listening to the show that are very pleased to hear that you don't have patience for that.
Yes.
I don't think anybody should.
No.
Absolutely. Let me move forward to another topic. A lot of people are very excited about the fact that there could be a California State University Antelope Valley
yes.
Campus here.
Yes. I did some studies comparing our students here with students statewide. And what we found is that we actually have a 7% higher high school graduation rate
Wow.
here in our valley. But here's the catch: we have an 8% lower college graduation rate. And the only thing we can come up with is they don't have access to a full college. We have a little over 400 students through Bakersfield at AV, but A, those economics are in danger, and B, that's not a full program. So we think and if you look at the transportation, public transportation, to go to Northridge and back, it might be 5 hours.
Yeah.
And there is no public transportation to go up to the Bakersfield campus, up in Bakersfield. So what we have is we don't have access to a full four-year college. So, and I think our valley, the last 20 years, has had a 90% growth, and I think we're one of the few places in California that are growing. So I think there's enough students here locally, not even including those that will be coming from out of state, that would sustain a four-year college. And I know a lot of people have talked about it, but I'd like to see some process here. The result is the first step is getting a survey done, a report to see a feasibility study. We passed that in the state legislature, which would direct the trustees to start working on that. It takes actually the vote in the assembly when I brought it up was 67 to 6.
Wow.
So I got bipartisan support. I even had Republican caucus chairman Connie Conway speaking up for it because she tried one before and hers didn't get through. Again, rightly or wrongly, the Democratic stuff is getting through, so I'm able to at least get stuff passed, and I got bipartisan support. What I do is I go from door to door on the Assemblyman. I say I need support on this bill. So I lobby the heck out of things when I want something passed. And this got passed. Now it's going to go over to the Senate side. I'm already started my lobby over there. I've already spoken to a couple senators. And then if it gets passed there, then it goes to the governor. So I think we're on our way. And the good news is the state's doing better.
And there's obviously a need. 7% higher in graduates is a real conclusive need.
There's no question. And those people who can afford to send their kids away, I'd rather keep the kids local.
Right.
Most of us parents want our children here. We don't want them going out of state. We don't want them finding that they like it out of state, and then we have a hard time keeping our children around.
Right.
And paying for college is bad enough if you can not have to worry about housing and everything for the kids, so they can just come home to their own bedroom.
Yeah, that cuts part of the cost out. There's no question.
Sure does.
And here they might have to send the kid out of the area just to make them local to be able to attend college.
Yeah, that's not right.
I did a survey once years ago to see if the grade point average was different for the people who commuted versus the people that lived near campus. And obviously the results were the people who lived near campus had a GPA higher. And so you really want something that is accessible to your children, that is given a full, broad scope of the courses. And I think a state college right here in the Yellow Valley is exactly what we need.
I agree. Would it be a California State University Lancaster or California State University Palmdale? Or an AV?
California State University AV.
There you go.
There you
That's
go.
the right answer.
Yeah. We recently had someone on the show. He's a student and went to Antelope Valley College and then transferred to Northridge. He originally came to the United States from Mexico when he was 3 years old and walked through the desert for 4 days to get into this country. He's now going off to University of Tennessee to get his JD. He wants to become an attorney. And this is a guy that has worked his way all the way through. It was a great success story, Assemblyman, because
took no public money.
He has never accepted any public benefit or any student loan, supported himself all the way through school. And the one thing he said was, it sure would have been nice if I could have gotten a 4-year degree in the Antelope Valley.
Yeah.
And again, because the state's doing better, in fact, we our audit on the Assembly side, not the governor's side, we find that we have $4 billion more than the governor's projection. Now, $2.9 billion of that is going to go more for education under Proposition 98. So the good news for the schools out here is under the governor's proposal, and we're analyzing that now. Again, he just gives proposals. We also have to give ours. Under his proposal, there'd be $2.9 billion of that would end up going to schools. He also has a new funding mechanism, and most of we have 9 districts in my assembly district, and most of those school districts would be benefit from this new funding mechanism. We have to take a good look at it as different components of what we qualify for. But that's the good news. And the good news is Proposition 30, which should last us for another 6 years. So going back to CSAV, with that funding, hopefully we can start perhaps putting so much away each year to build our campus. So I think there are ways to do it. There's ways to convince the legislature. And again, there hasn't been a new state college in years, and I think this is exactly where it's needed.
I was wondering if we could sock a little bit of that stuff a little in a mattress for a rainy day, too.
Well, no, I think some people are talking about a rainy day fund. There's
good.
There. None of us want to go through a surprise where we have to make cuts. I just feel, great that I got elected to a time that we don't have to sit and cut. Now we have to figure out, do we want to do a rainy day fund? And I think partially we will. Good. And at the same token, what programs do we want to reinstate? And I think the mistake the governor's made is he cut across the board, cutting both the bad and the good programs. What he should have done is say, this is the program we really need, make a determination, and fund it properly. But that's my personal opinion. And again, we did lay in on some of his decisions. He tried to combine the adult ed with the community college and cut the adult ed from $900 million to $600 million. And we said that's just not going to work. There's no space at the colleges. Our community colleges already have lost 500,000 students statewide. And based on our rantings and demands, he actually took that out of his proposal.
Okay.
So we do lay in, just as on the courts, the governor didn't want to give more money, the Senate didn't want to give more money, but the Assembly said, hey, this isn't going to work. Justice delayed is justice denied. And so more money was given to the court, but we actually attached strings to some of the money, which is kind of interesting. Instead of just saying, here's your money, before we give it all, we want to report back, and this is what we're looking for. And what we were looking for is we want reinstatement of a lot of the access. And you can believe, as an attorney, I still have a number of complaints as how, and it's still there, access is being denied, such as all our civil cases right now in the AV are being sent to L.A. to be filed and heard. Our courtrooms are still here. Our judges are still here. Our cases are not. And that makes it inconvenient for the regular person who's got a case. Now they have to travel downtown L.A. just for a hearing. Or what if they end up putting our restraining orders downtown L.A.? If someone could has a problem and they're being abused, they may not be able to get there. Or even our eviction.
Yeah.
If someone can't afford the rent or did afford the rent and there's a question about it, how are they going to afford to travel all the way down to Los Angeles? So there are a lot of serious problems our courts are going through. The committee budgets on 5. Under Reggie Jones is the assembly person, who sees me every day and almost walks the other way because he knows I'm going to bug him about the court.
Runs the other side of the hallway.
He knows. I corner him in the lounge and say, you want your food here? Yeah, I want some answers there. But we are on that as far as the courts. And what he did is he said, I'm going to hold $100 million hostage to the courts. Come back and show me how you spent the other money. Come back and show me how you're reinstating access to justice for our constituents.
Steve, I know your time's limited, but I want to ask you another question.
Sure.
The UAS, the drone industry, and establishing the Antelope Valley as a focal point and testing ground for that industry. Do you see it as being a jobs magnet?
Let me explain what it is. The federal government passed legislation saying that there can be 6 corridors in the United States where drones can be developed, researched, and tested. And they said, give us applications. Well, when it came across my desk, I realized with different people were pushing things that it had been almost a year and nobody had picked up on it. So my staff immediately picked up on it. We initially started legislation for the state to do the application. Then we found somebody else who'd put one, but the state wasn't acknowledging it. So we drew a resolution, a motion for the state to work with the 2 people, the Riverside application and the Inyo Current application, and go forward with the application process, which they are. The Governor's GoBiz department, what he's labeled it, is now working with them. I actually met with them yesterday on the enterprise zone issue. And they are actually now, the governor's office is now working with the applications going forward. They're in part of the process. What it will do is it'll use Edwards Air Force Base, which is right next to the Antelope Valley, as the controlled airspace that's needed. We have manufacturers in the area, and we definitely have the labor force that needs jobs. We project that we'll bring $89 billion in jobs, which is what our research shows, over the next 10 years here. Now, the other interesting thing is the FAA has a privacy component required on it. So nobody has to worry, gee, are they going to go to my backyard? I think we have to double-check it because you can't trust everything. So we're doing that. But the whole concept is it will bring jobs to the Yellow Valley by way of the manufacturers of Mojave and the controlled Air Force Base at Edwards Air Force. So that's what we're looking at.
Well, citizens of Lancaster, at least, should be used already to having spy planes flying over.
That's I'm not. That's
This
up
is
to
true.
the Lancaster, but these are not going to be spy planes.
Gotcha.
These are going to be tested in the controlled Air Force Base.
Gotcha.
These are my concerns too.
I was just being a smart aleck.
They're required to have the privacy component, not to go into our backyard, and we just have to double check to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And the key, you think about it. If it's a military use, you'd rather have a drone blown up than a human being.
Amen.
If it's a agricultural use, now you've got poisons or whatever pesticides you're using it again, not near a human being. And if you do use it for police work, there you're getting information sent back to the police on the ground. So there's a lot of viable uses. It's the future.
Oh, yeah.
I went over to North Grumman, and I saw a number of the drones that have already been developed, and they're all sizes, types, for all different purposes. It's the future, period. I mean, it's here. The question is are we going to bring that money and those jobs and that work to our state? I mean, we're supposed to be the aerospace capital of the world right here, and we need the work.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think jobs is the number one thing that I promised jobs, and I figured this came across my desk and sounded great. I can. It won't cost us a direct penny. Here now, they're approved. Manufacturers can now come into the area if we get the application approved. So my promise to bring jobs this is the way I'm trying to fulfill it.
All right. Thank you, Steve. We have to take a break, so I'm going to let you go. But will you keep us abreast of everything that's going on, especially the audit of child services?
Yes.
Oh,
all right.
Okay, thank you again.
Oh,
Thanks for taking the time, Assemblyman.
Take care.
All right, you're listening to AVNewsCast on News Talk Radio 1380, the Antelope Valley's #1 News Talk radio program, and we'll be right back.
Hello again. This is Bob Alvis of AV Veterans Talk here on News Talk 1380. When you hear this,
Mustang 6 Golf Foxtrot cleared for takeoff.
that means you're getting ready to fly. And that's just what we do every Friday from 11 a.m. till noon, right between Dennis Miller and Sean Hannity. Each week, we fly right into the subjects that are important to our Valley's veterans and pay tribute to those who have served and sacrificed on behalf of our country. So tune in and join our formation. Check us out on Facebook at AV Veterans or call us at 266-4420. So for now, it's Wheels Up and Blue Skies. Bob out.
My name is Gene. I am an 85-year-old patient of Dr. Brewster at Boulevard Dental. I have been afraid of the dental office since my experience in the Navy in World War II. A friend recommended Dr. Brewster and sedation dentistry. Well, it works. I have had the best dental experience and no memories of them. Do yourself a favor, lose the fear, and save your teeth. Call Dr. Brewster at Boulevard Dental. You will be glad you did.
This is Dr. Reed Brewster from Boulevard Dental Group. Don't let fear stop you from obtaining regular dental care. Please give us a call at Boulevard Dental Group, 947-7737.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
If you're traveling in L.A., Angelina's buddy's in town.
Yeah?
POTUS is here.
POTUS.
Angelina's meeting them. They're going to have tequila shots later on.
What
Where are you going to sprinkle the salt?
are you talking about?
Oh,
They're yeah. Obama is in town for a fundraiser. So if you are in the L.A. area,
Angelina's buddy, your president.
I know,
is in
I know,
town.
and
Everyone's
I
president that
I
can hear me.
100% respect the office. Don't get me wrong.
All right.
Okay,
I
a
know
little
you do.
levity is okay.
Yes, it is. It's
Okay.
fine. It's fine.
He is in town, so if you are traveling to the Los Angeles area today, you're going to be in trouble.
forget about getting to
Oh,
where
yeah,
you want
forget
to
it.
go.
Forget
Yeah.
it.
You are going to be in big trouble.
My daughter's heading to LAX. She's in trouble.
That's the place you don't want to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Air Force One tends to land there.
Yeah.
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 I would love to see that land.
Air Force One.
Smooth. It's smooth, baby.
Yeah.
I just have to say that I'm so happy that we have Steve Fox in office. I mean, he's really working it.
I really appreciated his comments about the audit.
Absolutely.
He has no patience
No.
for what has gone on with respect to Gabriel Fernandez.
No.
None at all. He has no patience for the department or their shortcomings or the fact that they don't do their job. And I really like the fact that it's like, you know what? If there's a piece of paper that shows that somebody dropped the ball,
Then
just
bring
go
him up.
criminal.
Get
Yeah.
him.
Okay?
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for anything.
I know, because
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, that's reasonable. I understand. Get all the facts. He's like, no. You know?
Now, yesterday, Tony Bell from Mike Antonovich's office did say that that because of the way this is going, they have to let it go a certain way first. I like Steve Fox saying,
Yeah.
forget
I like
that.
his way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get him.
Let's just go, yeah.
They should be scared right now.
I like that he's not just towing the party line, doing what he's told to do and expected to do by members of his party, that he's actually looking out for the people here and trying to draw the jobs.
Yeah, that's
and
what he
working
said.
with the other parties and just doing what's right instead of what's expected by, the powers that be there.
Well, right when he was elected, we spoke to him. We spoke to Senator Steve Knight, and here you've got the Senate and the Assembly, Democrat and a Republican, already immediately committed to working together
That's wonderful.
on whatever can be done.
That's the most refreshing thing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I'm really happy about that as well, and we're going to be doing some other stuff, really great stuff with Assemblyman Steve Fox over the next month or two.
Yes.
That's really going to be groundbreaking. Angelina,
Yes.
You're not quite sure about this Verizon giving up everybody's information?
What do you mean I'm not sure? I think that you can't have it both ways. We have sleeper cells, guys, which means we have people that are pretending to be law-abiding, citizens in our community.
Masquerading.
And the only way to find out who has an alternative meaning in their existence is to get whatever information that you need to get. So for me, I'm not talking about nothing that the president can't find out about. So, I saw that one. Did you see the one commercial that the guy's in? He's hiking in the mountains, and he's on the phone, and he's like, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And all of a sudden, Obama goes, "Yes, we can hear you."
I haven't seen that. That's great.
Oh my God, it was so funny. I thought it was great, but
I mean,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
We dealt with the Soviets, through the 40s and the 50s having sleeper cells here, up through the 80s and early 90s, and we
Right.
dealt with it somehow.
But see, the thing is, Jeff, this is nothing new under the sun.
No.
This is just coming out that this is what they do. They've been doing this for quite some time by means of listening to telephone conversations, gathering information. It's just more information they can gather now because of the web. But they've been gathering information. That's what spying is all about.
You can tell me about being a spy.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying it is because people
It
tend to
used to be
think that
harder,
it's
though,
a new
to-
thing. But it's not a new thing.
It used to be harder. You used to have a lot more, it was more pinpointed in the past.
Listen, they
as
went to
opposed
all
broad
branches.
sweeping.
Every branch said, yes, get it. And, it is what it is. The public is just now getting on board with that.
But they have had it for a long time.
Yeah.
I years and years ago, when my dad needed a computer system, an Intel iWarp system, and it was only available at that time to the military. And so he had to go to the Senate to get permission to buy this computer.
Wow.
And in doing that, he asked somebody, how long has this system been running in existence? Because it just became, available maybe to go, to the private sector. Mm-hmm. And they said, anything that hits the private sector, it's been in the military for 10, 12, 15 years before. So they've been listening to everything.
Yeah.
Okay? It was just done under the radar.
Yeah.
And this just came out.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot more sweeping.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
It has, because information is more prevalent, and the channels are more so available. But it's always been.
Both sides of the aisle yesterday came out and made statements, Republicans and Democrats. This is something we need. We support the president 100%.
You got to do
in
it.
what he's doing.
And then it's so funny because I heard comments on transparency, and you haven't been transparent. Yeah, you have. I'm listening.
Right.
know this now. I'm listening, and I appreciate it.
Well,
if it means that he's gonna stop some kind of sleeper cell from attacking us, then thank you.
No, it's just telling them how to change their operation and do it differently.
Okay,
It's
so, I don't
not
know,
necessarily the best thing that this news came out.
Oh no, it's not. It's not.
Because now they can modify what they do.
Absolutely.
Right.
So now it just made that completely useless. Now they're going to be listening to us for nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
Now they're going to develop some super code.
Right, and the news came out because, this court order, which was against Verizon, Verizon wasn't able to go into our secret confidential court that no one's allowed into
Which
to
is
get this
funny.
stuff. So Verizon got served with this order, and somehow a copy of that order got leaked. Mm-hmm. Okay? And it got leaked to The Guardian, so it got leaked to the UK, and that's what happened. We have to take another break.
Oh, again?
Yeah, we have to pay for the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley. You're listening to AV Newscast, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Hi, folks. I'm Chuck Simons, a realtor with Keller Williams. Are you finding yourself buried in your house payment, completely stressed out, and don't know what to do? Please listen to what I'm about to tell you. First, understand that you are not the only one that's having problems. Many folks in the Antelope Valley are going through the same thing. What's most important right now is that you take control. Just because you've been turned down for a loan modification or received a notice of default doesn't mean you can't be in control. You own the property still. You can be in control, and I can help. I know how stressful it is. I know what it is to be in the dark on this. I've helped a lot of people in the Antelope Valley, but you have to take action. Call me, Chuck Simons, at 661-350-1006. I want to help you. My team and I will meet with you for free, and we'll go over your options. Don't just sit back, bury your head, and lose your house to foreclosure. I can help you, but you have to call. 661-350-1006. Together, we'll draw up a roadmap to relieving the stress. Just because you're not able to make the payments on your house doesn't mean you don't have options. You do. I can and I will help you negotiate a short sale with your bank. I'll explain all the benefits and how you can rebuild your credit. Call me, Chuck Simons, at 661-350-1006. Let's solve your problems together today.
My name is Doris, and I'm an 82-year-old patient of Dr. Brewster's. I disliked the way my smile looked. My teeth were chipped and discolored. A friend finally asked me why I didn't smile anymore. When she found out, she recommended I see Dr. Brewster at Boulevard Dental. And now I have a beautiful smile that I am very proud of. My friends and family tell me I look happy, and I am. You are never too old to have a beautiful smile. Call Dr. Brewster at Boulevard Dental.
This is Dr. Reed Brewster from Boulevard Dental Group. Don't let fear stop you from obtaining regular dental care. Please give us a call at Boulevard Dental Group, 947-7737.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Man, Steve, you're just always in my head, aren't you?
What'd I do?
It's a car.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
our producer Kenny has Woody's on his shirt.
Yes.
Okay? So we'll just leave that up to your
I
imagination.
was thinking of whoever did that leak to The Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
That's someone to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why would you do that? For the money? How much money could it be, really?
It's not about money. They're mad. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
They're
you don't
mad.
mess with the government when they're trying to look for sleeper cells.
You don't.
You take the documents and you say, IT, let them in. I mean, you just don't. You certainly don't go home and say, let me call up a newspaper in the UK and tell.
No, and you know what? This is different than when the FBI or some other branch of the government goes to Yahoo or Google and says, hey, we need you to release this email information. That's one thing, okay? And you might be able to fight them for a little bit on that. Usually they'll lose. This is different because this goes through this confidential court system
FISA court.
that no one can be in and no one gets represented, and they've got 6 on-call judges around the country that, okay, is that what you want? No problem.
Exactly.
I'll sign that court order. Go serve it on them.
Yep.
Okay?
Done deal.
Cindy called in and asked, so Where are the people that they've caught since then with this? If this is...
Well, you're not going to... I mean, really? We're going to tell everything?
Well, apparently they told what they're doing to catch them.
I mean, we shouldn't even know who the people are, really. Until
but they've been doing this for so long. Where's the disconnect for 9/11?
I don't know. I'm sure.
They can gather all the information, but then they sit on it and don't share it. Just like DCFS.
Are they supposed to share it? I mean,
they're supposed to share it with the CIA and the NSA and all that. All information should be shared across the board, so you can build a big picture of what's going on.
Well, we have to hope that that's what's being done.
They don't.
No, people don't.
They have their little fiefdoms, and they don't cut loose with the information, and it should be done.
Sharing of information.
Yes,
but
between different intelligence agencies.
Yeah, but they don't get along. They're supposed to because they're all under Homeland Security.
It's like Palmdale and Lancaster.
Yeah.
No, but they don't. And in industry, they don't get along.
Right.
I remember in the automotive industry, engineering and styling design, they hate each other.
Yeah.
Okay, and the first
you're not sharing ideas with REI.
No, no, I don't. Or no, I don't. They don't get any Abidak secrets. They absolutely do not. But that happens in many industries.
Yeah.
Right? And how often have we seen that the FBI doesn't converse or share with the Justice Department?
Yeah.
And,
well, and the cops with the sheriffs, and I mean, it does. It trickled down. It's a trickle down. Everybody thinks that they're the top dog.
But in an area like this where lives are at stake,
it's still people behind them. It should be. It absolutely should be.
Okay.
But there's still people with egos behind it.
Perfect example. Poor little 8-year-old Gabriel Fernandez, okay? Here you have a situation where the Sheriff's Department does not have access and is not privy to all the information that Child Services has. Yep. So when they roll up on a residence to investigate something, they don't know that Child Services has been there 6 times.
Yeah, that needs to be changed.
That's ridiculous.
The case needs to be linked to an identity, not a location. That's a big mistake.
And you would think that would already be the case.
Well, we're trying to apply common sense to government.
Yeah.
Well, like Captain Ford from the Palmdale Sheriff Station said, it goes by address, and not necessarily by the name.
Right.
And so even when the Sheriff's Department, goes to the apartment complex, if the teacher had called something in from the school at that address, the Sheriff's Department wouldn't have any knowledge of that.
Right.
They don't know.
That's crazy.
So that needs to be fixed.
You would think that this problem would have come up before and they would have fixed it. But now that it's absolutely in the light, powers that be that's listening, get your stuff together.
Please.
Because these kids, I mean, they shouldn't be falling by the wayside because people can't talk to each other. That's ridiculous.
Right. Right. This morning, by the way, Southern California Edison announced that they are permanently shutting down San Onofre.
Oh. Well, that's good.
Okay. Never to run again.
Frank got to see that for the first time.
He did?
You know what that looks
From
like?
afar, I hope.
It looks like the logo for Double D.
Yeah, it does.
Cupcakes. Is what it looks like.
Probably the same reaction I first had when I went to San Diego for the first time.
Yeah, they've determined they've already spent $500 million on repairs.
Unbelievable.
To go nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unbelievable. It's just amazing how we just throw money away in this nation.
It sounds like the California payroll computer system, okay, that they spent tens of millions of dollars on, and it couldn't it couldn't make a payroll check. Okay? That's just amazing.
They should have just kept to ADP.
That's just amazing. And the state of California now is suing some of their vendors, okay, trying to get money back.
Oh.
Okay, but that's, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see it happening. Yeah, but they had spent tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
and people made a lot of money. There were vendors that made a lot of money, and they went to test it for payroll, and it couldn't even print a friggin' check.
Yeah. I want to know, who was the case manager on that?
Somebody that works for DC.
There you go.
Yeah.
Somebody in that department.
Couldn't get the enterprise version of QuickBooks and just be done with it?
I guess not.
Apparently they couldn't.
They could have worked an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
Mark my words, though, and you heard it here first. I think you will see the director of Child Services for LA County looking for a new job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
He's got to be hitting his LinkedIn.
But I'm sorry to say, you're going to see another case like Gabriel.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what?
It is what it is.
I
Steve.
think they're all out right now doing what they have to do on every single case.
But
I think
it will
someone's
pass.
been told this better not happen again.
But it will pass. The urgency
Yeah.
will pass.
It'll dissipate.
And they'll get complacent again.
Mm-hmm.
Because what needs to happen, actually, we should have told Mr. Fox. What needs to happen is that they need to develop an external auditing system that's always in place, that has nothing to do with that agency, that just simply is in the position of watching over what they deem is done, or what they deem as in progress.
There's two things. One, when Child Services gets a report that there is child abuse or sexual abuse going on, and they have to investigate it, they have so much time to respond.
Right.
In some cases, they have to do it that day. It depends on how the request comes in and how the notice comes in. In other times, they have up to 30 days. But the problem has been, once they investigate it, if the social worker just checks the box that says unfounded, okay, then it's a done deal. Okay, it's off their desk. They don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right, but if I'm the audit, then I can go back to that social worker and say, why'd you check that box?
That's the whole thing.
What makes you confident that there's no issue here? What did you do to clarify that?
I think for this civilian auditing board to work, though, we need to have it uniform from county to county. Should have the same laws and requirements and everything statewide, and then you can, from a central location, dispatch these folks to do it. But every different county have every different rules and different regulations.
I think you're right there. I mean, and they probably do have some really good rules and regulations in place right now if they did them.
Yeah, they acted upon it. Yeah,
if it actually. But again, we need to say, take away that incentive for placing kids, for permanent placement of children. And make the incentive to make sure that child is a happy, productive, thriving entity instead of placement in another location, like we found out the other day.
But you know what? If social workers are doing their job, they should not get an extra bump in their paycheck if they place someone if an adoption goes through.
Good night.
That's part of their job, and that's terrible. I think Kenny, our producer,
that's
wants
human
us to take
trafficking.
Another break.
Ouch.
Well,
it is.
It is kind of when you look at it. It is. Kenny, you want us to take another break?
Jeez, Kenny.
Okay, we got a little backed up, so we got to take another break.
Yeah.
You're listening to AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380, and we'll be right back.
If you're thinking about getting your backyard in shape for entertaining, there's only one place to shop, and that's Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. At Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale, you'll save up to 70% off retail every day at our factory warehouse showroom. Abadak has everything you need to get your backyard in shape, like 7.5-foot tall, 41,000 BTU, freestanding LPG patio heaters for just $159.99. How about a fully enclosed backyard gazebo? Fire up that barbecue and enjoy a nice meal inside one of our Mandalay, Trinidad, or Mykonos freestanding gazebos. Just $219.97 every day. If you want wholesale prices, come to Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. How about backyard shade or car canopies? You can pick a variety of color choices starting at just $129.97. Stop by Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. We're located at 38940 Trade Center Drive, 1 block east of 10th Street West. The Abadak Factory Showroom is open from 8 to 4 every day. That's Abadak Outdoors at 38940 Trade Center Drive in Palmdale, where you'll save up to 70% off retail every day. Check us out on the web at abadak.com or give us a call at 661-480-1562.
There's a school in Palmdale that's become the talk of the town. It's called the Guidance Charter School, and many parents say it's magical. The Guidance Charter School is WASC certified, scored 783 in academic performance, and has an educational curriculum that exceeds what the state of California recommends. The curriculum is enriched through age-appropriate exposure for information technology, arts, foreign language such as Arabic, and physical education. The Guidance Charter School is now going to have a full CIF sports program with soccer, basketball, track, cheerleading, and more. They're an open enrollment enrollment school, publicly funded, and have been in business for 12 years. Fully approved by Palmdale School District. The Guidance Charter School has small class sizes such as 20 students in grades K through 3, 25 in 4 through 8, and just 30 students in grades 9 through 12. Call the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale today at 661-272-1701. That's the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale, 661-272-1701. And check out their website at thegcs.org. A better high school choice.
Chronic Beat.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380. Angie just got fired up during the break.
Angelina got mad at me because
I gave you such a look. Yeah.
There is a United States senator.
I think Kentucky, right?
I'm not sure. I don't recall exactly what state, but some women have expressed that he's a good-looking guy.
No. Someone has been soliciting him for sex, and the wife got on her husband's Facebook page and said, enough is enough. You keep sending these pictures to my husband, and I'm going to release your name before I delete you as my husband's friend.
Well, why not just let it go?
Because women need to respect a marital unit. Just like men should.
It's some nut. I get those.
It doesn't matter.
Crazy things on Facebook.
Respect the fact that someone's married.
They want money out of me, though.
I just got a message from a hooker on
and that's what made me think about it. Respect the fact Jeff is married. Mm-hmm. Hookers, get on the street and stay there.
I'm happy.
And if somebody wants to mess with you, they'll find you on the corner.
I don't know if this senator appreciated his wife jumping on Facebook and
listen, she said she had righteous anger, and I believe that she was correct.
She was insecure.
Because she was protecting her marriage, because men sometimes can't keep it together.
Cindy knows she has nothing to worry about.
She was afraid because his senator's been having coffee with ex-congressman.
No, because we see it all the time. Look at Weiner. I mean, we see it all the time. You go to where did he go? Argentina, and you find your soulmate. I mean, you gotta check your husband sometimes, and you gotta let women know it's not happening in my camp. So kudos to her.
You gotta check your husband sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, because you have whiners and you have the other.
We're not all bad.
No, I'm not saying that you all are, but sometimes it takes a woman to make sure that you recognize that she's going to put her foot down.
How about not marrying a turd in the first place?
Well, I mean, I'm sure none of these women that married these guys thought that they were going to marry someone that, 15 years later found their soulmate in Argentina.
Got to vet them.
So on the East Coast, you've got a 10-year-old girl.
Yes.
Okay, that is dying and is in very much need of a lung transplant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, she can't get that lung transplant because she's not 12 years old, and any available transplant organs need to go to adults first.
Right.
Okay? And she her days are numbered.
Mm-hmm.
And they've asked repeatedly, and every time a new set of lungs comes available, and I'm talking about this like it's something you get off the shelf, but every time they become available, she is purposely skipped over.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And I can't believe that the family had to go to court to fight the Health and Human Services Division of the federal government, okay, to allow this little girl to get lungs. And the Secretary of Health and Human Services did not want to save this woman's life, this little girl's life. Did not.
Yeah.
And even when the judge ordered them to take this girl and bump her up, give her a fake birth certificate, give her fake records, whatever you have to do, change her age to 12 years old, put her in the system.
Exactly.
Okay? Mm-hmm. The Secretary of Health and Human Services for the federal government still said, I'm not going to do anything until you hand me a signed court order by the judge. Now, she knew it was already done, okay? But still wouldn't move because it drags it out, because there is another hearing coming up for an injunction hearing, and she's hoping she can overturn it because the Secretary of Health and Human Services does not want to save this girl's life.
Well, no, it's more because she doesn't want to. It's a snowball effect. Because the real problem is that someone told those parents that the reason that your child is not getting a lung is because she's not 12.
Right.
Normally, they would have never told. They would have just said, "We're waiting for a lung. A lung has not become available," and just let her go ahead and die out. That's what they really. That's how it's really designed for you to die out.
Yeah, but
they're not supposed to tell you.
They've been going into the basement and opening the fridge,
Exactly.
and they see all these. Hey, there's some. Look at that.
That would fit.
There was a pancreas down the street,
Yeah.
so I know there's a lung in that body. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean the real issue is that family found out what the rules were, and said, "Oh no," and so of course she's going to fight against all odds to make sure that this injunction is overturns the judge decision, because it's just going to open the lungs is just one thing. Just one thing. What about hearts? What about livers? It's endless. If we really opened up the rules and regulations on what you need to qualify for to be able to get your life saved, we'd be blown away.
Well, I know that there are certain laws in place that, for instance, if you are up there in age, they will, they've already, in their mind, they say, well, you've already lived a full life, so we're not going to give you any new body parts.
Unless you're Larry Hagman.
Yeah. Well, that didn't even help him.
No, it didn't. But
no.
He got it, though. He got bumped up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's who you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And your money talks.
Yeah. But so I know those laws are in place, but I didn't know that, here's a little girl that's 10 years old, and she's going to lose her life because she's 2 years too young to be able to get lungs.
Yeah.
But
I'm
just going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
What if those lungs could go to a breadwinner for a family, a mother or a father that's, say, responsible for a whole group of people?
You can't make decisions with all that data.
They do it all the time.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, a 12-year-old isn't
That's what utilization review is all about.
Anybody else.
Oh, so this guy's going to get a new heart first because he has a higher earning potential?
Well,
he has
all
people
these
that
factors.
are dependent. I mean, you have dependents. This girl has no dependents. Yet they have nobody. She has nobody looking to her for food and sustenance and a roof over her head.
Wow.
Versus a head of household.
I think that their factors are more in line with how you live your life, like your age. Do you smoke? Do you eat things that would put you in line for diabetes and other health issues? I mean, I think that there's like guidelines in that sense as to why they would choose you to have that body part as opposed to someone else.
I think that's terrible.
Yeah,
I think that's absolutely terrible. No, I don't.
Why is it terrible?
This little girl could grow up to change the world.
Right, but there might be
She
20
could grow up
little girls like her.
To be a female president of the United States. She could grow up to invent a cure for all cancers.
Oh, she could
you
just
don't know
grow
what
up.
she could do. But she's a human life.
Yeah, she is.
And how can you value her life any less than somebody else's?
But there's 20 of them, Steve, so now how do you decide?
You all go on the registry, and you get decided by when you got on the registry.
No, 20 of them all at the same time.
The first 20, get them.
Okay,
there
that's
you go.
A good twist.
It's just like picking a ticket at Baskin and Robbins.
No, I'm just saying at some point.
Next,
no,
just like the DMV.
At some point, you have to pick.
C36.
Right.
At some point, you have to make a choice. You have to say, okay, 20 people went on the registry at the same time. We got one lung. So at some point, there's going to be factors that are put in play to figure out which kid out of those 20
it goes
is
to
going
the
to get that lung.
1/100,000th of it. It's just like eBay, okay? The last bidder. I mean, that's it, and it's all done. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the way it's got to go. We're done for the day. Our show is over. Have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget Thunder on the Lot, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
That's going to be great. And we'll be back on Monday. And thanks for listening to AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380.